The massive protests continue to rock Armenia. On Friday, the Armenian opposition carried a mega rally demanding for the resignation of the incumbent Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. They wanted the incumbent Prime Minister to step down immediately because they said that he was the one who was directly responsible for the failure in the conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh. The scores of people were extremely angry with the leader and they flooded the streets of central Yerevan on Friday. Now, the protesters waved Armenian flags and chanted anti-government slogans. The protests come after, on Thursday, Nikol Pashinyan accused the country's top military officials of attempting a coup against him after the military demanded that the Prime Minister should step down because of his incompetence. And this development has added fuel to the already tense situation in Armenia. Now, the opposition protests gathered pace this week, and the feud with the top military commanders has also weakened Nikol Pashinyan's position in the country. The recent developments have raised some serious concerns about stability in Armenia's South Caucasus region. Remember, the region is of utmost importance. This is where shipments of Azerbaijan's Caspian crude oil pass through on their way to Western markets. The former Prime Minister Vasgen Manukyan, who has been put forward by the opposition to replace Nikol Pashinyan, has called on all Armenians to join the protest immediately. Speaking at a rally, he said, and I quote him here, "The people must take to the streets and must express their will so that we can avoid bloodshed and turmoil. Either we get rid of them or we end up losing Armenia." Now remember, Armenia has been witnessing regular and massive protests against their Prime Minister since November last year. On the 10th of November, Nikol Pashinyan had signed a peace deal with Azerbaijan that was brokered by Russia surrounding over the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. And under the peace deal, it was Azerbaijan that seems to have got the upper hand in the conflict, as it was allowed to reclaim large parts of Nagorno-Karabakh territory and also the surrounding areas that earlier had been held by Armenian forces for over a quarter of a century, since 1994, when Armenia, in the 1994 war, had defeated Azerbaijan and had managed to capture these regions. The world leaders, of course, are watching the situation unravel in the ex-Soviet nations. On Friday, the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that he is against any coup attempt in Armenia and that the fate of the country's Prime Minister entirely relies on its citizens.
Şu anda Ermenistan'daki yapılan bu darbe girişimi, biz biliyorsunuz darbenin her türlüsüne karşıyız. Yani darbeleri kabul etmemiz özellikle mümkün değil. Yani burada şunu da çok açık söylemem lazım. Yani askerin devreye girmek suretiyle burada böyle bir adeta darbe çığırtkanlığına girmiş olması, bu da tabii kabul edilebilir bir şey değil. Burada bütün mesele, eğer bir yönetim değişikliğine gidilecekse bu yönetim değişikliğini Ermenistan halkı yapar.
And also, France's foreign minister has called for all parties to engage in a meaningful dialogue to preserve democracy in the country. Listen in.
You're, of course, aware of recent developments in Armenia. We're following the situation very closely. We urge all parties to exercise restraint and to avoid any escalatory or violent actions. We remind all parties of the bedrock democratic principle that states' armed forces should not intervene in domestic politics. The United States has been a steadfast supporter of the development of democratic processes and institutions in Armenia. We continue to support Armenia's democracy and its sovereignty, and we urge its leaders to resolve their differences peacefully while respecting the rule of law, Armenia's democracy, and its institutions.
Nous sommes très attachés à la démocratie arménienne, à la stabilité de ce pays, qui a des ressorts démocratiques profonds. Et la France souhaite que le dialogue puisse s'instaurer dans ce pays en s'appuyant sur légitimité du président et du Premier ministre arménien pour que ce dialogue puisse aboutir à une situation plus.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.